so you don't play him. See you, Djordje.
Well, no.
I
Okay, I have a lot of opinions about Djordje. I think you might have heard it.
Yeah. No, yeah. Hold on, let me read this real quick. Got some real quick blurbs from Ruben Tish, Chicago Fire. Also, great follow on Twitter. He said we should be done with Calvo. What do you think?
Calvo hasn't been that bad recently. Like, the past few games, Calvo hasn't been that bad. I think Calvo and Omsberg has honestly been our most solid defensive line, which is scary because Omsberg is not that good. I remember scouting him for the draft back when he was drafted by Minnesota United. I remember checking him out and thinking, he's decent. I don't think he's going to be as good as...
Where's this?
Turan is still injured.
Oh, he's still injured? Okay.
Well, I mean, he should be better now, but I think that Ricky is taking it slow.
Well, he's a kid, so you don't want
making sure that he doesn't get re-injured because, I mean, if you want to put your future on that guy, is...
Well, where's the solution for Calvo? I mean, that's the thing. If Taran isn't ready, if Kappelhoff is, struggling.
The solution for Calvo is starting him at striker.
Well, speaking of striker, Robert Baric is regressing, and it's time to bring in Shinonso 04, says Ruben. I agree.
Baric isn't regressing. This is who he is.
Yeah, that's 1,000%.
He overperformed last season. As I said, it was his first game. It was his first season over 10 goals.
Right, yeah.
It was his first season over 10 goals since 2014.
Absolutely, and then the league figured him out. Also, the Wiki's offense no longer is just like working. And one of the things I realized about Wiki's offense is it only works if Fabian Herbers is in. It only works if Fabian Herbers is in.
Which is very concerning, honestly.
Yep, that's the only time it works.
Fabian Herbers is a solid...
I think he's a good player. He's a very good mental
soccer player. He's a solid...
He's got great soccer smarts.
Depth piece. He's a guy you bring in off the bench.
I think that if a new coach comes in, I think they'll still look at Fabian Herbers like as somebody they could use. Because he's a glue that's fixing Wiki's, crappy... He's like the sous chef that's like, and every once in a while something comes up good there. Even though the kitchen sucks. And some good news. Ignacio Nacho Aliseda is back. Who cares? Sorry, Ruben, I'm not talking about you, but I'm just saying Nacho Aliseda is garbage. Bring on Brian Gutierrez.
Actually, I mean, I think Nacho's done well.
Okay.
I think that preseason Nacho...
For DP money?
Well, I mean, we haven't really seen enough because he's been injured. Because last season he was completely invisible. But during preseason, I was seeing a whole lot more from him, and I think it's mostly because he's gotten a lot more comfortable here. I think that's the big reason why he didn't play well last season. And so I saw what he did in the preseason, and then suddenly he's out with an injury. So I don't know. I think that it could matter at some point. It could matter.
How many games do you think that Ignacio Aliseda has played for the Chicago Fire?
I think he played quite a bit last season. I can't remember how many games he played.
Just throw a number out there. How many games do you think he's played for the Chicago Fire?
I don't even remember how many games there were last season. Around 20.
Yeah, he's at 22 games played for Chicago Fire total, and most of them have been crap.
Well, yeah, most of them, because most of those was last season, when he wasn't really completely ready yet.
Speaking of, we were talking about Djordje a few minutes ago. The Chicago. He posted this picture him after beating the Chicago Fire, and then also he liked something on Instagram or something like that. The Chicago posted that they lost. Djordje Mihailovic throwing some shade by liking it. Thought that was pretty funny and cheeky.
Oh, I got issues.
You got issues?
I mean, he didn't really do much in that game.
Did he? Yeah.
I see somebody. I've seen Neo Tokyo mention like Jiggly, man. Good players need to be divas. That's part of what makes them good. He's not good though. I still don't think I still don't rate him, and I didn't rate him when he was with the Fire either. And people saying that, oh, why do we have to trade him? I mean, honestly, it's because he wasn't gonna get a chance at the position that's gonna make him good with players surrounding him that's gonna make him better. He wasn't gonna get that with the Fire. So why wouldn't he want to be traded?
Mm-hmm.
And so him being petty about that, it confuses me. And I didn't read any of the drama stuff. Like that feels like VTubers,
Yeah.
that side of my life, and I don't want to deal with that. So it's just, I don't think that's he earned the right to be petty. I don't
Right.
think he earned the right to be petty.
Yeah, chuck that bullocks. Speaking of being petty, maybe I was a little petty. Slow Day's calling me out, saying that Nacho isn't garbage, and we haven't seen enough to determine if he's improved this year. Too early to judge on a very limited minutes. Thanks for checking me. Sometimes, spit fire. But, he just has not impressed me. He has impressed me.
Well, yeah,
much.
he was last season. He was invisible.
Right.
But during the
22
preseason,
games. He's played 22
he was doing a whole lot
games
more.
for the Fire, and he's been invisible for. I can think of 3 games where he wasn't invisible. Taryn has been on the 18 the past few games. All the same, so it is correct to say, maybe he's not garbage, and I probably shouldn't say that. Also, I don't think you can judge a 20-year-old from 2020. Got to give them time. Yeah, that's another thing. 2020 was definitely the craziest of times as we're trying to get back to normal here. So they're saying Djordge is good. You are wrong, Jiggly. The trade wasn't a bad deal for either party. I think Djordje's good, too. I think Djordje's the best player on the Fire.
I think he was very overrated by a lot of Fire fans.
He was the best player on the Fire. Point to one player on the Fire who's better than Djordje. Mihailovic.
Elliot Collier.
Nope. Point to one player on the Chicago Fire who's better than Djordje Mihailovic.
Elliot Collier.
Point to one player, Jiggly.
Let me just open up the roster.
There's no player.
My brain
There is
immediately.
There is no player because you're like
Brent Bronico.
if you can't think of, he's not on the
Okay,
Fire.
I thought you meant on the
He's on
Fire
show.
last season.
No,
a better player on the Fire
who
last
on the
season.
Fire this season is better than Djordje Mihailovic?
Lucas Stojanovic, obviously.
No. No.
Lucas Stojanovic is way better than Djordje.
Debatable. Maybe. You may have an argument there. That might be the one player you might have an argument for.
Madron when he's actually on
Nope.
his game and
Nope.
when he's
Nope.
not doing whatever
Nope.
normal thing that he's doing.
Nope. Djordje is so much better than Madron. Madron came from Real Madrid. Djordje Mihailovic came from Chicago Fire, Lamont's backyard. And Djordje is miles better than freaking Madron, who played.
I know
played in
kids who I
Madron.
went to high school with who would kick his ass and
I believe
pickup
it.
games.
I believe it. You could kick his ass. But dude is dude's skilled and dude can make it work. He's way better than Madron. Let's see. Speaking of Madron transfer market,
I don't want this to be another Jack Harrison situation
Right.
where I have to disagree with everyone every single time his name's mentioned.
Alvaro Madron is worth $2.2 million according to transfer market. And let's go to Djordje.
I mean, I'm not going to trust Transfermarkt.
I know it's but hey, it is used. It is
mostly
used as a metric.
in terms of not because I value players differently.
Djordje is worth double.
Oh yes, Pineda is better than
Madron.
Djordje as well.
Okay, maybe Pineda. Pineda might have a shout. Let's see what people said here in the chat. Pineda over Djordje, says McWill. The only argument is Luka for better, but he is more consistent. And so they're saying because he's tired, he's come back from injury. Luka was tired.
I
so
mean,
he
also
missed-
there's the thing of we
he's
weren't
coming back.
playing Djordje in his right position. We were playing him out on the wing. Montreal is finally playing him in the central position.
And if-
Harry Shipp, I would rather have built a team around Harry Shipp than trying to build a team around Djordje.
So they're saying if
Djordje-
those high
because-
school kids could kick their ass, then who do they play for, right?
U.S.
U.S. Scouting, where are you? They're bad at it. Djordje's
Just with because I also would rather have somebody who could be a leader. So in terms of the players that we have in terms of the two homegrown players playing in about the same exact position, being played out of position in about the same exact way, and being traded away by the new management almost instantly in the same way to Montreal, Shipp and Djordje. I would rather have kept Shipp than have kept Djordje. Because Shipp would have been a leader. The thing is that I understand what you're saying with how good players need to be divas, but he wasn't good enough to have earned that right to be a diva.
He's the best player on the Fire. He was the best player on the Fire.
And Harry Shipp was one of the best players on the Fire, and he wasn't that.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
So
You don't
it's
need
more
to
of
be
he
a
didn't.
diva. It's true.
if you are flaunting the fact that you are the biggest fish in a tiny pond, you shouldn't be praised for that, you know?
Yeah, you shouldn't be praised for it, but you also, I could care less. I want a guy who performs well, and to me, Djordje was the only guy who performs. He's the only guy who performed on this team, and Wiki is another part of that you just helping him not to perform and helping this team not to perform. You know, what do you think of that? He performed. Everybody else,
I think he got like with a lot of situations. There were a lot of games last season where people were saying, "Oh, Djordje was the best player out there," and I'm like, I don't see
he was so many
moving
times
out of position, not getting the right passes and not making the right runs. That's what I saw from him.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of mistakes. Absolutely, I agree. You know, we are keeping an eye on him. Hey, but speaking of people who just have not though met the mark, maybe but yet seemingly have outside opinions might differ on him. That's Frankowski. He got called up by Poland for the Euros.
It's a distant situation.
And
So
he might have enough talent that he is maybe one of their best options. He's just got such physicality, but or is Wiki just
different situation?
Is Wiki's system not working for Frankowski? Is Frankowski better than what he's been in the Chicago Fire?
So Frankowski is a weird type of player where if he is on a bad team, he's not going to perform well, and he's going to perform well on a good team because Frankowski, he's just a speed guy, and if you play him as just a speed guy, he's a guy you bring on at the end of the game to just move quickly and get the ball to whoever your star is. But the thing is that the Fire are relying on him to be the one to score, on him to be able to...
And to him to score, him who he can't.
Yeah, exactly.
Also,
so
we got... Go on.
So I think that he works really well for the Polish national team because he's going to be a guy who can help get the ball to Lewandowski, get the ball to Arkadiusz Milik.
And he's very versatile.
I think that,
he could play the wing backs. He could play a wing.
Well, I mean, I think they would rather play him at that wing midfield position.
I think they actually have him listed as a midfielder, and I think they've listed
obviously.
him like everywhere. He's been listed maybe as a forward, as an outside back, as a defender, as a midfielder. We also have another one. Some people checking you on Ship. So they're saying, "Oh, Ship wasn't great. He couldn't handle more than one person around him and was unathletic." Ship's also FC Neo Tokyo saying Ship's top speed was a walk. And so they're saying Djordje over Ship. Ship was a better locker room guy, and I think you were saying that, right?
Yeah, that's what I was saying over it. And also, wait, the next comment from Slow Days: Chicago is the third largest market, not a tiny pond.
Yeah,
I would like to say that you're wrong with the team. I mean, obviously, Chicago is the third largest market. We should be signing players like we're the third largest market. Mm-hmm. We're not. You look at the team; it hasn't been built properly. That's the thing with Heights, where it's just like, I don't want to deal with Heights trying to play Moneyball with this team. I want us to actually be going out and grabbing good players and actually spending money. Mansueto is willing to spend that money.
Yeah, and
we're just not doing that.
And to go to trusted, you have enough money to go to get trusted quality, and you wouldn't got mystery box. So Mick Will saying being the best player, the quote-unquote best player in a bubble playoff team does not constitute this level of grandiose behavior. Probably, he's got a great point there.
Exactly.
Slow Day saying Djordje was the best player for the Fire, hands down. It does justify that attitude amongst the team and staff. Slow Day saying I'd be pissed off for being benched because I got called up to U.S. men's national team. Wiki pulled the exact same bullshit with Pineda this year. Forget that. FC Neo Tokyo, I think he did sit Pineda, but Pineda maybe he needed a time. He's still young. Maybe he needed a day to,
Wait, he benched Djordje for getting called up to the national team? I don't remember that one.
Djordje, when he came back, he didn't get played from when he came back from the U.S. men's national team. He never got played.
Yeah, because I didn't think he was that. I didn't think he was that good either.
But he is. He's way better. But we could be wrong. Maybe we're wrong. FC Neo Tokyo saying no matter how bad a player is for the Fire, finds a way for them to underperform.
Oh yes, and then the comments of Collier overperforms, but it's still bad.
Except for Collier, Slow saying except for Collier, he managed to overperform and yet still be bad.
Collier does his best every single game, and I love that.
FC Neo Tokyo saying it's like when a guy and a girl are dating and somehow they both can do better. Wow. Yeah. What do you think about this from Ruben? Hashtag Josie. Josie Altador to Chicago Fire. What do you?
No.
I don't see why we need him when we got all these. We got John Durant coming next year. We got Chinonso, who's flashing and looking good, and we also already have Baric. I mean, what, you want to trade Baric to him for Josie? I could do that.
No.
Josie, dude.
I want to trade Baric for Daber Caicedo.
Trade Baric for Josie for this season of a captain. Get Josie to be the captain. Boom, done. Josie.
Well, I mean, if that happens, we'd have to trade Calvo because Calvo's not going to take that.
Trade him. Gone. Done. Eric Ronaldo saying back on this was yesterday. On this day, Eric Ronaldo and Demo Kovalenko each scored. Chicago Fire beat DC United at RFK Stadium 2-1, and Eric Ronaldo was reminding everybody with 10 men. And
I think that.
Oh, gone.
I don't know. I might want Wijnaldum coaching.
I would love.
Like that's one other random person. Like
he's available.
He's not completely established. He's not completely established, but like I would take him coaching too. I want if the Fire aren't going to get established coaches, then I at least want former Fire players given the chance, because we've seen time and time again players who played under Bob Bradley have turned into great coaches.
I almost sent him a DM the other day, seeing if he wanted to come on the show, just because he tweeted this out. I almost sent him a DM. I was like, hey, he used to follow me. I don't know if he does anymore. Arlo White checking in. Not long now. Thank you. So Arlo White's going to be coming to Chicago Fire soon. I don't know if that's going to change things on the field. He's going to have to watch this product. He's probably like, oh, I'm so excited to watch Chicago Fire football. Jakes?
I'm trying to think of extra things here. But yeah, there's the one good player that Heights has found just out of nowhere has been Chinonso 04. And I want him to get more of a chance.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'm just gonna stick with my exact thing of like, I want this team, if we're not gonna add in any more players, I want this team to play like a hockey team. That means we're gonna start 04 and Collier up top and tell Collier to stop trying to take players on.
Start banging.
And just use his body.
Start banging. Yeah, I agree. I'm on board with that, Jiggly. We got Slow Days checking in saying, okay, 7th largest salary in the league, and the best player is a low-paid homegrown player. Looks great, Heights. Slow Days saying Collier has absolutely no whatevering in him. Guys, why are we talking about Collier?
I like Elliot Collier.
This is the state of Chicago Fire that we're wasting airtime on. I know he's a good guy.
I had to explain at the Inter Miami game to somebody sitting nearby why I loved Elliot Collier so much, because like he's so bad.
So they're saying we should sign Herrera for coach and Josie and get the most drama possible. Yeah, get the people in Chicago interested. If you go at Josie, and I definitely think people would be.
I mean, you got Calvo there too. You bring in Kendall Waston. You have a back three of Kendall Waston, Francisco Calvo, and David Luiz, and you will have a suspension a game. You will have a suspension a game.
I don't need Calvo in that defense. The drama would be the story of the 2021 season.
No, and not. I don't want to build that defense for the sake of having a good defense. I want to build that for the sake of drama. And so, red card a game. You know, that's that defense.
Speaking of train wreck of defense, Wijnaldum, FC Neo Tokyo is suggesting that Wijnaldum would be a train wreck, but at least it would be an entertaining crash. I think he'd be.
Nelson isn't here anymore.
Slode saying Nelson pretty much burned the Wijnaldum bridge when he made fun of his dyslexia. Enough about the Kiwi. He's fun and all, but we got bigger fish to fry. I agree, Mickwell. But
he's starting.
Yeah, but Nelson's gone, so I mean, Wijnaldum that definitely opens the door for Wijnaldum returning. But also, you know, Wijnaldum's success is mediocre. It's not the greatest success, but still, he knows Chicago. He's a big name. I think I'd be willing to consider him, but I don't think Heights is, because I don't think he would want to work with Heights either. They brought Wijnaldum in for the coaching search. Guys, they talked to him, or at least they talked with him for sure. I know this. He wasn't the only former Fire player that they talked with, and before they secured Rafa Wicki as their coach. And they definitely talked with him and considered him, but they went the other way. I don't know. Is Ronaldo the answer?
We need.
I'd prefer it, but I also don't know.
Fire need.
I think that there's maybe better coaches out there. Unfortunately, to say. I mean, if we're being honest, there are potentially better coaches out there, but also maybe there isn't. Maybe he's a good fit for Chicago. Maybe he knows the league. Maybe he understands MLS. Maybe he understands MLS in a way that all these foreign coaches don't.
That's the thing. I think that the thing that the Fire needed at the beginning of when Mansueto bought the team and finally fired Pauno and eventually Nelson, or at least like moved Nelson away from the soccer side of things, which wasn't the place where he was doing the most damage, but okay. But the thing that the Fire needed was a GM who understood MLS well and had proven to build a good MLS team from the GM spot. And they also needed a coach who wasn't an academy coach, who had proven themselves to be able to win. They didn't have to win a championship or anything, but just a winner. So it's just, I think that they failed at both of those things. You know?
Yeah. Look at this. Look at this. This team is run like a small town team. They hired the last two coaches that they've hired are U17 coaches, not established coaches of men. And that
the biggest designated player.
They act like they're a small team.
Like the Fire, especially now that we have Mansueto, who has a lot of money. Mm-hmm. We can get the players that the Galaxy are getting.
We can get the coaches and the players, but they don't. But you want to know why we can't? Because the Fire have so eroded it. They even brought Bastian, and they couldn't put enough shine on that shit. They brought in Bastian Schweinsteiger, a fucking legend, and they couldn't shine that turd up enough. It just did. They are in such a bad place that they need to fix something. They need to change a lot, and still not enough has changed, and still more needs to change as we progress further throughout the season. Maybe sooner than later too, especially if they're trying to save this season. Because right now, this season is going to leave a sour taste in a lot of fans' mouths, especially coming on the heels of last season, especially coming on the heels of that they're supposed to go pay top dollar at Soldier Field to go sit and watch this pathetic piece of crap product and listen to Arlo White try and gussy it up. It's going to be right now it's Chicago. Alexi Lalas tweeted this out the other day. He said, "What team does the MLS not need to succeed?" And I tongue-in-cheek said to Chicago Fire, because that has been the last 10 years. The league has succeeded despite the Chicago Fire.
I think that there's also, I mean, obviously my tinfoil hat conspiracy theory of the Fire. Like, the Fire were good when MLS itself was bad, so obviously MLS is trying to keep the Fire down since then.
Slow Day saying that I know that Nelson isn't here, but Eric has a bad taste for the club. I think he has a bad taste for some of the people in the club. I don't know.
I think that there's still some people here that Nelson brought in that he won't like. Mm-hmm. But I think in general, I think he might be okay with the team.
I think that Height's gone, and maybe somebody else there he knows he could trust. Somebody who could ride, somebody's his ride or die, that can work. But I don't also know if Winalda's the answer. Winalda is an idea, but there's other that's just one name of many, and there's definitely people out there, and we got to get something else in here though. If we're giving Joe ideas, call up Piotr Nowak, call up Eric Winalda, start getting some ideas. Call up who else can we bring out? Do you call Jesse? Do we call Jesse Marsh and ask him for a recommendation?
We've both spoken at length with Novak, that the 4-hour podcast. But I think that at this point, I would rather just have Novak and Klopas as our Bobby Hall, Stan Mikita types.
Yeah, I see. As the legends. Slow Day saying, how is this team ever going to fill Soldier Field? How was this team ever going to fill Soldier Field and get fans in the seats?
With the excitement, well, technically speaking, they missed that opportunity because of the virus. Because I think that it would have been possible for them before that team actually played a single game,
Gosh.
it was possible for them to have filled Soldier Field for that first game.
They should have brought Wayne Rooney in to be player coach and then let him retire and just become the coach, and there'd be enough confusion there for a year or two that people would still be coming to see Wayne Rooney, and even though he's coaching. They should have that could have been a great move. Just putting crazy ideas out there, but we can't live in the past. We got to live in the future. There's somebody out there for this team that I don't know what you guys think in the comments, but there's somebody out there.
I mean, it's the same way of me saying that, like, I can find a girlfriend, It's just this whole thing of, like, yeah, there's got to be someone out there, but I can't think of anything. Like, to any specific player that can fix this team, any specific coach that can fix this team. There's got to be someone out there, but it's just not there. And it's as I said, same way that I say about getting a girlfriend. It's just not happening.
Dude, Jiggly, you gotta think more positively of yourself. Get in a different kind of mindset, because you gotta, on the one hand.
You see what I'm saying? With it's just like I can't think of anything.
Here's what you gotta do. You gotta accept what it is, accept where you're at, accept what's going on right now, and also accept that change is gonna happen. Change will happen. It's coming. It just, and start focusing on what you want to change, what you want to bring about, and boom, you'll start bringing that about. Right now,
I'm with the fire.
But I'm saying for you, yeah, it's with the fire. Yes, with the fire. They got to start thinking about what they want. They got to start thinking about what they want to bring about, and if what they have is currently if what they're currently doing is going to bring that about. It doesn't look as if what they're currently doing is going to bring about the results that they're desiring. And that means you got to change what you're doing. It's as simple as that.
I find this interesting with, because I'm just looking at stuff on Football Reference for the Fire. And so, obviously we know that our leading goal scorer is Luka Stojanovic with 3 goals, and Beric has 1 goal. But Beric has 3 XG. Stojanovic actually only has 1.8 XG, so he's overperforming. And then Frankowski has 1.6 XG.
Jesus.
So it's talking about XG is about
stop.
How many chances
You're wasting
they get.
my time talking about XG. I don't give 2 crap. It's a waste of a stat for me. It's a fluff stat.
It's about how many. It's about how it's the quality of chances.
It's a stat to pad your article and say, hey, look, this team's supposed to be good. We had that great comment earlier. Agree with the first few games, says Slow Days, but by summer of 2020, it would be 6,000 fans at Soldier Field. It's going to be that soon. Carl Jennerjohn saying, I look towards successful coaches from Costa Rica or other CONCACAF Champions League teams who know how North American soccer works. A CONCACAF coach? What do you think of that?
Yeah. I mean, we saw Matias Almeida doing great.
Mm-hmm.
I would like that.
Yeah, that's
I gotta think
shout.
now of
from Carl Jennerjohn. Awesome to see you guys. By the way, everybody, thanks all of our viewers for watching and for listening to the Spitting Fire YT show podcast. We're always on Spotify, iTunes, and everything else after the fact. If you're able to listen to it live on our YouTube, smash that like button. For us, it helps greatly helps the YouTube algorithms get a hold of the Chicago Fire content, pump it out to other Chicago Fire fans. Greatly appreciate you guys hitting the like button for us. And hopefully today was the day we earned your subscription. If we haven't, and hit that bell icon to get notified of our live streams. That way, I mean, you'll be able to come in and be the part of the show. We always talk with the chat. We always love hearing what the chat has to say. It's fun, really fun. That's what makes the show so fun, Jiggly. It's like you, me, and like the whole crowd. We're just like and we're all bouncing back. It's so fun.
I found Alajuelense's coach, Andres Sarovic. Yep.
There's a guy out there.
But I mean, that's just Alajuelense's current coach. I mean, I don't know if he's that good.
Yeah, right. Is he another Rafa Wiki? But here's the thing. Is he a U17 coach? No. We want a guy who's coaching men. And maybe also
he was
a guy
an
who speaks the
assistant coach in Puebla.
You also need a guy who speaks the language. The language barrier can be an issue. So you definitely need some way to mitigate that. A coach that's able to fit the situation. And I don't think Wiki fits the situation. Also, I'm not sure Heights fits the situation. But this is just me, a fan, and my current lens, looking at the slew of results the last 2 seasons. And seeing that it's just not been good enough. That's my assessment of the situation. Let us know your guys' assessment of the situation. Do you guys like what the Fire are going? Do you think that there's promise to look forward to? Or do you think that we need to burn it all down because there are enough pieces here already that somebody else could take a better shot with this. I think that's where we're at personally. I think.
This is something Marty just tweeted. Fernando Adi, Kai Kamara, and Christian Nemeth are all free agents at the moment. The Fire could sign any of them, honestly, and have an improved striker base, because the Fire don't have depth at striker. We have Barrage, Chinonso 4, and that's it.
Fernando Adi, Kai Kamara, and Christian Nemeth are all free agents at the moment. Josie Aldoor needs a short-term option, given that, yes, I agree with Josie option, especially you could come in and be a captain. MLS shows time and time again that its veterans outplay mid-level foreign talent. MLS shows time and time again that its veterans outplay mid-level foreign talent. Heights needs to show flexibility, and he isn't. Heights needs to go unless he can start showing some of that flexibility, especially if he brings in 1 or 2 signings. But that's what he's hinted at. 1 or 2 signings might come later in the year. But this team is what it is right now, and they have to make it work. And I'm not sure Wiki has that capacity. What needs to change for Chicago Fire fans? Let us know in the comments below. We got another question from Slow Days. Do we believe that the players are bad or that they are underperforming? I think that some players are bad, and I think that some players are underperforming, and I think that the coach doesn't know how to help them perform better, and also doesn't know how to hide the bad players.
Que no los dos.
Who's that?
Que no los dos.
Que no los dos.
Why not both?
Why not both? Why not both?
Because I think that they're not good enough, and they're also underperforming.
So
that's why the only person who's overperforming is Elliot Collier. All of them are better than Elliot Collier, but if Elliot Collier is your best player, then there's an issue there.
Then maybe it's a lot of underperforming players too. So I mean, that's why we need to bring in a new coach. FC Neo Tokyo says, inject Kai Kamara into my veins. Slow Day is saying, if they are underperforming, then it is because they are not running through a door for Wiki. I think they run through a door for Wiki. Wiki's just, it's just not working. It's a U17 coach. There's a reason. This guy is a U17 coach. He doesn't have the tactics that work at the big league. If they are bad, then nothing a coach is going to do. Me and my brother were talking about this the other day. I don't know if there's any other sport where the manager and the coach is as important to the team than soccer. Name me a sport that the coach is more important than the team or the players? Basketball, I don't think so. NHL, I don't.
Football.
NHL, I don't think so. Football. I think has the argument, but I also think that because you got Bill Belichick, but also I think managers in soccer have the most
I think the more
influence
important
on their
thing to
team
think about
over a head coach. I think a head coach has some influence of a football team, but I think a head coach of a soccer team has much more influence overall of his team's identity and how his team's results.
I think a bigger thing to think about instead of head coach is what other sport in the world does the captain matter as much?
Okay, that's another question. That's another good question.
I think that's more apparent than
I don't know
about
any
coaches.
other sport. I don't know any other sport. Captain, you need a good hockey captain. You need a good hockey captain. I don't think you necessarily need a good football captain.
You get 3 of them though. You get 3 of them in hockey.
No, I mean you need a good hockey captain.
You get a captain and 2 alternates. You get 3 of them.
Okay. First off, we will recognize in every sport you need a good captain, and a good captain has its influences. We're just saying when sports comparatively, which captain of each sport has the most influence. You might be right about a skipper in soccer. You might have an argument for it. I think anyone can make an argument. Baseball saying, at baseball, look what happened to the Sox with their old man yells at cloud experiment. Slow Day saying football has the most important coaches. They literally call the plays.
Yeah. Like who do you, and like with just who do the Fire have as captain? You know,
Calvo and Neo.
Exactly.
Neo Tokyo is saying baseball is the coaching, but I look at Calvo. That's their captain. It's just they don't.
I think that you're onto something with like what the Fire aren't doing well at being a soccer team because of specific things with soccer.
They don't have a great captain. They don't have great
captain.
leaders. They don't have great leaders on the roster. They don't have great leaders on this coaching staff. And I'm not
They
sure
don't have
that I'm not sure that Garrett Heitz is a great leader, especially after reading that article and him trashing his coach that he brought in. That also he had to distance himself, even though maybe he didn't bring him in because he was part of the coaching search. But all the same, he's your guy, and I just makes me question him.
Honestly, Heitz, yeah, he didn't exactly trash Vicky, but
He didn't exactly come out with a glowing endorsement of him either.
Heitz saying that Vicky needs to get good. Mm-hmm. Honestly, that puts me that gives me a bit more like hope that things can be done, that things can be fixed. Because, I mean, you don't want to have something like Nelson Rodriguez saying, "Oh no, he's the best. He's the best. We're soccer soulmates." I don't want that. If a coach is underperforming, if somebody is underperforming, I want to have the person in charge of that guy saying, "Yes, he's underperforming, and we're going to be looking into how to fix that." And if something doesn't get fixed, then he's going to have to be gone. So I don't think there's anything bad about Heitz saying Vicky isn't doing well. I think that he should also look at himself and putting other players in the position, but also like with what we were saying, because yes, I get what you're saying with like we need to I think that chat has you on that with other sports having much more important with coaches, with how managers in baseball are more important, with how coaches and head coaches in football.
I disagree.
I disagree.
I honestly disagree. I think that a coach in soccer is the most important coach in any sport of all the sports.
And that's mostly because other sports don't. Other sports have sporting directors.
I also will ask you this: when we think about coaches in the world, the biggest coaching carousels of names of popular or fame, I think it's going to be coaches in soccer, and then followed up by maybe coaches. Followed up by coaches in college football. College football. I think that would be the second most known famed coaches. The most is soccer, second most is college football, and then maybe third is maybe NFL.
I think that's mostly, you're saying around the world. I mean, obviously soccer is going to overtake everything,
right.
But I think that the bigger thing is captain and leadership and the lack of that, because we do have some veterans on this team, but I don't think that they're good leader veterans. I don't think Calvo is a good leader.
Nope.
I've said that many times that I don't think Calvo is that good of a leader in terms of like what this team needs, and I don't think Bornstein is really the kind of guy with like the personality to help other players. I think that for the longest time, the Fire had CJ Brown helping out the young players. Then I don't rate him as a player, but Logan Paus was a good leader for the team.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very much a thing of the Fire have had in the past. The Fire have had good leadership, good strong leadership at the captain position, and they've had good goalkeepers. And then suddenly, the moment that Nelson Rodriguez came in, everything fell apart. So, we had Schweinsteiger for a while, we had Dax McCarty, and then suddenly after that, what's there left? We got Calvo now.
Yeah, it's nothing left after the Basti years. The Basti years have been squandered. 2017 had a leader. Listen to this, though, from Sodays. 2017 had a leader on every line. João, Dax and Basti, and Juninho, and MDL, Michael DeLiuve.
Yeah.
And where are the leaders on the 2021 team? They're nowhere. Sodays saying at the game, Madran was the only person yelling, and he only yelled at Brian Gutierrez.
And I will admit that Gutierrez had a kind of a bad game awareness-wise, that game. But, I mean, I will allow it for him because he is a young player. Mm-hmm. With other players, if they're not performing, then I want them gone. But it's like that. I think that our next big designated player signing, if we can get, it was something that my dad had said about Gaston. I think that they were planning on Gaston on being that leadership player, and he's not that guy. It turns out he's not that leadership. We got him to be a designated player captain, but he's not that guy. And I think that the big thing that the Fire need to look at is bringing in a designated player who can also be captain. I'm just going to check something really quick about, let's see if this guy is still available at the moment. Because Maya Yoshida, I'm pretty sure is going to be available.
Maya Yoshida again.
Maya Yoshida, I'm pretty sure is going to be available for the summer window. So and that's the thing. Like
I don't
want
think
us
he's
to
going to
get.
solve the Chicago Fire's problems.
I mean, no, he's not. He's a defender, obviously, but like, I don't. I think that's at this point, the Fire need to get a designated player signing who is a good leader and is going to be in a position of need. And honestly,
they can't.
almost
They're up
everywhere
against the
on
wall
this.
until next season.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean for next season. I think that almost every single player, I think that almost every single position is a position of need for the Fire at the moment, except for, there's certain positions, like
Striker.
Lucas
I think
Vijanovic,
Striker's future
Alvaro
is set.
Madron.
Get rid of them
I
all.
trust them in those positions.
I like Stojanovic, but everybody else, whatever. Everybody else is just whatever, a guy. Maybe some of the homegrowns. I could give Gutierrez more time.
Sekulic at right back.
Whatever. He's been part of a bad defense for a long time now.
Sekulic, I think that Sekulic has been the best player of the entire season.
He's been the better player of the season. We talked about that as well. But he all the same, he's been the better player on a bad team.
Yeah. I mean, that I think a lot of that is on
but
other
also,
people. And
I gotta say,
the ball has been moved over to the other side of the pitch.
It must be said.
Whenever the ball is between Sekulic and Frankowski, good things happen. When it's between Sekulic and Frankowski.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Sekulic is the one bright spot on this team at the moment for most of the season. He definitely is. I think we're starting to shut down here, Jiggly. Let's start reading our final comments. Thanks for everybody in the chat for joining us. Smash that like button. Greatly appreciate you smashing that like button. Helps other Chicago Fire fans find our Spinning Fire YT. We're on Spotify, iTunes, and all that good stuff. Always, we got Jiggly of the Sad Boys FC podcast. Great, another podcast to follow. They do a show a little bit more often than we do, but we do the live show. They do the closed show.
We do pre-recorded, and
edited,
we had the interview with Drew Connor.
Oh yeah, check that out.
Also, personally, I have my the Jock Weeb Network, which Ooh. I have a Patreon now. I do need money.
Send it to Jiggly. He's on Patreon. Give him some support. We're on Patreon too, by the way. If you ever feel like supporting the show for the Spitting Fire YT, but yeah, you don't worry about it. I know money's tight right now, and everybody, you got to take care of your own. But if you ever feel like sending old Spitting Fire YT, old James a coffee, feel free. FC Neo T or beer. Do you even like any of these players? FC Neo Tokyo. I haven't actually been a fan of anybody on of these players since Sean Johnson left. Said an FC Neo Tokyo.
Elliot Collier.
Yeah, so Jiggly's a fan of Elliot Collier. He's Chicago boy. He's Chicago's Kiwi. Carl Jenner-John saying Alciade looked damn good against Montreal. I want to see more of what I want to see that and what he can do against the rest of the season before we give up on him. So there's Carl checking in on him. I said earlier Alciade not good enough, but chat fighting back against me on that, and they might be right. Slow Day saying Boris is good, Luka is good, Bobby has not been awful.
He hasn't had a chance to be awful though.
And Navarro has it, and Nacho could grow some more. Yeah, speaking of maybe quiet bright, Navarro, he kind of gives me the old Brandon Vincent feeling, like he
kind of cut me off before I said something.
Damn,
about Navarro.
Oh man, yeah, Navarro, he's giving you the Brandon Vincent feeling. Like he's coming along. He's not quite reliable, but he's also not quite, bad. And he's got there's something there maybe.
Because I was saying, when the ball's between Sekulic and Frankowski, good things happen. But when it's on the other side, it's between Navarro and Collier. It's between Bornstein and an out-of-position 04. So, good things happen on the right side of the pitch. And so that's why teams have learned to keep the ball away from that side of the pitch.
Yeah. Yep.
For the Fire.
Yep. They've learned a lot about the Chicago Fire and Wiki's offense, and that's kind of been an issue for Wiki that he has not been able to resolve so far. And the question is growing, and the hot seat is getting hotter for him, obviously, because Heights is letting him know. Heights let him know and also let the media know, hey, we just met with this guy after the last game because he's not performing the way we want to, and we're telling you that, and we're telling him that. So that's a big indicator that changes might be coming if we don't see any significant change in results here for Chicago Fire anytime soon. And some of the changes to us seem obvious. Chinonso 04, start him. Start getting him going. Maybe play Pineda over Gaston Jimenez way more. But also, by the way, shout out to Section 8 Chicago Fire for Food 2021. Please support and give now. $1 buys 3 meals. It does a whole lot to help combat food scarcity and food problems and food insecurity in Chicago. This helps out kids so much, guys. We greatly appreciate any type of money you could give. Give them money before you give us money. It's a great cause, and we love to support the Chicago Fire Section 8 Greater Chicago Food Depository campaign. Jiggly, any final thoughts here for everybody?
Usually I say go Red Stars, but I mean the Red Stars aren't playing well either.
Wait, what's going on with the Red Stars? Can I get a quick update? Because to me, they have some talent and they're struggling.
They have a team that is built around hero ball. They don't have anybody to pass to though. They can pass to each other all the time. They have playmakers. They don't have a scorer.
Is the coach the issue, or is the team setup an issue? And they just need one. They need one cog to make this work, and he doesn't have that cog on the roster at the moment. Is that the issue?
Technically both, because I don't rate Rory Dames as a coach. Mm-hmm. He's a great GM. Mm-hmm. He's been able to build this team, but at some point you just got to let him go. And also, technically speaking, yeah, if they can get just that one player who can score, I mean, Sam Kerr was that. Kirsten Press was that for a long time. I mean, you notice that if they didn't have that one specific player type, they didn't play well. You had Sofia Huerta taking over that role when Press was away, and she wasn't able to do it that well. And then you got the players weren't able to do that when Kerr was away, and now there's just nobody's coming back. And I know that there's a bit of a thing for they have somebody coming in from Europe, but we don't know who it is. There's some guesses as to who they will be, but I don't know. I don't know who's gonna be. My guess is there's one player who's kind of a bench player and with Wolfsburg right now because she's been injured so much. Eva Pajor, or Eva Pajor or whatever. I don't know how to pronounce that very well, but she. That was one that I noticed from Alex Campbell, one of Alex Campbell's articles. I did my own research. They said something about they needed to wait for cup finals to be played. So it could have been Sam Kerr. It was said before.
That'd be great. But do you think that she's what's missing, or do you think it's a Yuki that's missing?
I miss Yuki. I know you
personally.
Mostly because of
I know you personally.
In general,
but I'm talking about
Yuki's my favorite player, but I don't think that's it.
But we're talking one cog here.
One cog is the goal scorer.
So maybe that's
I think that Yuki, in terms of what she did on the pitch itself, was replaced by Malpew. Not Yuki had a lot of technical ability in terms of just being able to pick out those passes. I think that Malpew adds more in terms of dribbling that I don't think Yuki did.
I mean, the Red Stars have some good U.S. internationals.
The Red Stars have some very
Julie
good
Ertz, Malpew
facilitators. Chicago has some very good facilitators. They don't have the goal scorer though.
That's interesting.
Malpew isn't gonna score as many goals as Malpew isn't going to score as many goals as Sofia Huerta,
Well, what's interesting about the Red Stars is that you seem to think that, maybe one cog is missing, but also they might not have the coach to make it all work anyway, because he has not put it all together for a few years. And they seem like they've had the talent, and it might be time for a change.
They've had the talent for a really long time.
They've had the talent to win for a long time. It might be time for a change there. Now, to look at the Fire in the similar way, I'm not sure the Fire are one cog away. I think they're multiple cogs away. They're also, the coach is not there. The coach is clearly not the right coach for what's out there. So I think they need new cogs on the roster and the team. And that's also comes down on Heights not getting the right cogs.
It comes down to what you see when you watch the game and you see the little things. And the Red Stars are doing a lot of the little things right.
Well, that's huge.
And then
that does come down to coaching.
You see a lot of little things go wrong.
Little things does come down to good coaching. So, that might be a shout in the Red Stars coach favor. But all the same, what to me damns that coach is just his lack of results over the last 2 to 3 years. He's been there a couple of years now with loaded talent.
Rory Dames,
Yeah.
he's been there for almost a decade.
Yeah, he's been there loaded with talent, and he should have won. They should have won big. Like it's to me, it's actually
Well,
kind
also,
of yeah.
the rest of the NWSL is catching up. That's the thing, and that's what I say that about.
Yeah,
I say that
that's
about the national team as well, where the rest of the world is catching up to the U.S. national team. So it's very much a thing of just everybody else is getting better. This league, there is no easy game in the NWSL anymore.
Right.
There was an easy, Sky Blue FC was an easy team to beat for a long time. Houston Dash was an easy team to beat. Orlando Pride was an easy team to beat as long as they didn't have Marta on the pitch. So they don't have that anymore. No team is an easy. There's no easy game in the NWSL. Even Kansas City, who the Red Stars did get a win against, there's no easy game anymore.
I don't know if there's any easy game in
you.
MLS either. So they're saying I'm all for benching.
There's easy games in MLS.
I mean that what is it? Didn't we play Miami? I'm all for benching Gaston for Pineda. Better defensive and ball retention, almost as good with distance passes. Yeah, he's just more physically able to contend with MLS than Gaston Jimenez is. I think that's gonna just about do it for us, Jiggly. Any final thoughts here, or do you got to dig out, toss out?
I have a video. I VTubing. Watch my videos about anime and sports. My most recent video was about hockey.
So that's why you're on the hockey kick. But hockey's awesome. I love it. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us on Spitting Fire YT. Check out Jiggly. Support Jiggly. Always appreciate you hopping on the show, Jigs.
I was going to take a shower before this, and it's been about 2 hours.
Snap! Oh wow! I'm gonna have to cut this show up. Well, Snap! Thanks for everybody. I can't believe our show is incredible. The people who listen and watch. I mean, we've had people listening to us talk the entire time. Chicago Fire. That's how passionate. There's some great passionate fans in this base. They just need something to root for. Even Fred Hubner was telling me the other day he was struggling. He's like, it's hard for me to even talk about this team. It's just they need to do something. So let's hopefully we got a change in store for Chicago Fire, and change is good. We got it, everybody. So everybody, smash that like button. Let us know how you feel. Feel free to comment after the fact. We'd love to hear from you. Support us on Twitter. Hashtag whatever. I think I'm /FireEngine97 or something like that. Support Jiggly. Jiggly_333. And greatly appreciate you guys taking the time on this Thursday morning, and we'll see. I mean, there's no Fire games for 2 weeks, so hopefully this content could take you there. All right, Jiggly, we'll catch you later.
Yep.
All right, everybody. Everybody have a great one. We will see you later. Hold on, Jigs, I'm gonna pop off here. I'll be back in a second. Thank you, everybody. We will see you guys later on Spitting Fire YT. Greatly appreciate it if you guys take the moment to subscribe. Hit that like button. It greatly helps fan the flames and lets everybody know Chicago Fire are something to pay attention to on YouTube and the Chicago media sportsverse. Slow Day saying thanks, guys, for some midweek entertainment. Thank you, guys, for joining us. FC Neo Tokyo just tweeted you MLS manager hot seat odds. All right, we're in for that. Thank you, FC Neo Tokyo. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Greatly appreciate your guys' support on Spitting Fire YT. We will catch you guys next time. Fired up, footballers. Later.